2022, one of the worst years of our century. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia on February 24th fundamentally altered global geopolitics. Despite the fact the US and Europe experienced a technical recession in 2022, it's critical to understand that the recession won't hit the real economy for several months. Because of this, 2022 recession will extend into 2023 and only get worse. Welcome back to Proactive Investing. Be sure to stay with us until the end of the video to get to know why 2023 will be the year in which cash comes to an end among 4 other crises. Don't forget to support us by crushing that subscribe button like it's the 2023 stock market. Without further ado, let's get into the 5 horrible economic crises that are coming your way in 2023. Number 1. The real estate crash. A real estate hangover, unpleasant but necessary, is anticipated for 2023 as 2022 was a year of market ups and downs for housing. Numerous experts and organizations across the country are projecting a decline in US home prices. Some are anticipating modest, single-digit decreases, while others are anticipating double-digit drops, even exceeding 20%. However, keep in mind that during the pandemic housing boom from early 2020 to late 2022, the median home price nationwide soared by over 41%. So, even if the most negative projections come true, they aren't expected to reverse the unprecedented price increases experienced over the prior 2 years. As it exits the final phase of a housing bubble fueled by a pandemic frenzy, the US housing market is undergoing what Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has described as a difficult correction and a reset. The Fed raised borrowing rates aggressively during 2022 in an effort to combat high inflation levels. This resulted in a rise in mortgage rates that scared or drove potential buyers out of the market. Despite recent minor declines in mortgage rates, experts predict that higher rates will continue to depress sales through 2023. However, some claim that this correction is necessary for the market to attain a more healthy equilibrium between buyers and sellers, as well as a healthier affordability. Of course, how well local markets perform will have an impact on all of this. Experts expect that the home market in Utah will face some instability in 2023, but rebound strongly the following year due to the state's continuing robust job economy. But remain strong, investors. Jim Wood, one of Utah's top housing analysts, predicted that 2024 will be better for the audience assembled at the Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City on Friday for the Salt Lake Board of Realtors on 2023's housing forecast. Number 2. The unemployment crisis. The definition of unemployment is straightforward. It is a state of affairs where people who are looking for work are unable to find employment. Estimating the number of unemployed people in any given country at any given time, however, is difficult, especially in these turbulent times. Despite a decreasing level of concern over COVID-19, the effects on jobs and livelihoods around the world are still very much present. The most economically disadvantaged individuals, including women who work in informal employment and young employees in particular, were particularly hard hit by the pandemic. The impact of the recession has been less severe for people who can work from home, but for those who work in transportation, retail, and wholesale sectors have been hit particularly hard. The burden of the crisis has fallen unevenly across economic sectors. The epidemic also made existing patterns of poverty and income inequality, which were on the rise in many developed, emerging, and developing nations, worse. Numerous academic studies have shown that lower and interrupted lifetime schooling is linked to worse lifetime income and earning trajectories. Therefore, lockdowns and school closures did have a significant negative impact on the future prospects of millions of children. COVID-19, to put it simply, reversed decades of progress made in reducing poverty and brought job insecurity to tens of millions of people. What does unemployment actually mean? In theory, it seems to be a simple question to respond to. Unemployment, as we all know it, has various effects, including the inability to pay your rent, pursue an education, see a doctor, or even take care of your family. However, converting every unique circumstance into data and data into decisions that can improve our lives of millions of people is extremely difficult. Even though experts concur that the unemployment rate shows the proportion of the labor force that is unemployed and that high unemployment rates might endanger economic growth and social cohesion, they frequently disagree on how to define unemployment. There are numerous methods for evaluating the many realities of the labor market. Wait a minute, are you part of the 99% of our viewers who are not subscribed to Proactive Investing? If so, now's the time to join us and subscribe. Let's make a deal. If this video interests you, you'll subscribe to Proactive Investing. Now, let's see the other crisis we'll face in 2023. Number 3. The end of cash. In light of soaring inflation, rising interest rates, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the World Bank slashed its economic projection for 2023 and predicted that global growth will slip perilously close to recession. As nations confronted rising prices and central banks simultaneously raised interest rates to slow demand, worsening financial conditions were predicted to occur amid continuous interruptions from the conflict in Ukraine. According to the World Bank's most recent Global Economic Prospects report, the prognosis indicates a sharp, long-lasting decline, with growth estimated at 1.7%, or almost half the rate expected in June. Lower rates have only been recorded in over 3 decades during the pandemic-induced recession of 2020 and the global financial crisis of 2009. According to the Washington-based development lender, given the precarious economic conditions, any fresh negative occurrence might send the world economy into recession. These include unexpectedly high inflation, sharp rises in interest rates to control price increases, or a revival of the pandemic. Growth in advanced nations like the US is anticipated to decrease in 2023 to 0.5%, which is 1.9 points less than what was predicted in June. The bank added that many people of the poorest economies, where efforts to reduce poverty have already stalled, face especially dismal prospects. President of the World Bank, David Malpass, cautioned that emerging and developing countries are facing a multi-year era of lackluster growth driven by a huge debt burdens and insufficient investment. Number 4. The cost of living crisis. According to a forecast by the Economist Intelligence Unit, or EIU, the average rate of global consumer price inflation would drop to 6.5% in 2023 to 9.4% in 2022. The survey team stated, "We expect this partial decline to be reflected in the next year's survey, providing a little relief to hard-pressed households." The World Economic Forum's 2022 Chief Economist study, released in September 2022, was also acknowledged in the report. The analysis predicted a dampening of inflationary pressures in 2023, but it also noted that this would come at the expense of a severe decline in global growth, which would disproportionately affect the least fortunate. Despite this, the majority of economists believe that a worldwide recession would be somewhat or very likely to occur in 2023. The research stated that policymakers run the risk of starting a recession and a rise in unemployment as they attempt to control inflation. After speaking with nearly 25,000 adults from 36 countries, the majority of users predicted that inflation, interest rates, and unemployment would continue to rise in 2023. According to 79% of respondents, real income is expected to decline in 2023. Over the next 6 months, people anticipate an increase in their household spending. The cost of living crisis has primarily been attributed by the general public to the situation of the global economy. The global economy is generally blamed for the rise of living expenses, although other factors frequently mentioned include Russia's invasion of Ukraine and national financial governance laws. Number 5. The Lithium Crisis. One of the major disasters in 2023 will be the shortage of electrical and electronic devices. Although there are already shortage of several other products and services in some parts of the world, such as food and water in some African and Asian countries, electricity and gasoline in Europe, and general shortages in Latin America, in 2023, especially in electronic gadget industry, things will get even worse. We can all agree that China is the world's factory. The entire world would be impacted if China stopped producing or exporting, which is exactly what is happening right now. With the boom in electric automobiles and electronics, China exports primarily electrical and electronic products to the rest of the globe, including batteries, computers, mobile phones, and machinery-integrated circuits. Minerals like lithium are getting harder to find. Bolivia and Argentina are the countries with the most lithium reserves. However, due to the high number of taxes the government levies, it is exceedingly difficult for domestic and foreign businesses to harvest this material. I hope you've learned something from this video, and don't forget the promise we made. Subscribe to our channel Proactive Investing if you found this video interesting. Let us know in the comments below what crisis is most likely to occur first, and we'll see you in the next video.